Sì, ma bastano due perché poi quello per il pubblico, poi... Grazie. E, niente, io lascio la parola subito a Carlotta. Eh sì, perché tanto non è che, eh, anche se ci siamo parlati fino adesso in una lingua che conosce solo l'amore, vi lascio a voi la parola. Poi Monica vi fa girare il microfono e se ci sono delle domande molto ben accette. In English, of course.
Okay, I'm asking you a few questions, and then we see if there are some questions from the audience. So the first question is about the connection between reality and fiction in your movie. And I would like to know something about the real facts that inspired you to create the movie, and when you realized that these facts happening in the south of France could be a metaphor and also a background for a love story, so a complete other story.
So I was trying to make a movie about this area where I grew up for a long time, and then this butterfly arrived, and then I was living in Brussels, and my mom called me, and she was like freaked out about like white butterflies coming on the windows, and she was struggling with it, and everybody was super surprised. And the way she told me was it sounded like a science fiction movie, so I was interested, and I think I learned about it, and I learned that it was actually the worm was eating one of the main trees of this area, so it was like destroying the landscape. So I felt like something was disappearing from this area that I grew up in, and I wanted to testify that this was how it looked like before, and also it seemed like a good way to talk about the feeling of something that is disappearing when you grow up, about where you grew up, and so it started to make sense, and it was super visual, and the butterflies were attracted by lights, so it was easy to have like a good frame and to have the butterflies. And so I went there to make some to discover the butterflies, to discover people, and to gather testimonies and people that were witness of this event. And then I just had the stories, and I tried to find also the metaphors around the butterfly. And one of the most obvious one was the butterflies in the stomach. I don't know if you have the same expression.
Yes, it's the same.
And so it was super obvious, but it worked. So I decided to go for a love story because it's something that I really like, and I think everyone can relate. And it's also really linked with the coming of age story, because it's one of the first big feelings that we have when we are teenagers. And so everything seemed linked, and I had the freedom to try to do every metaphors, to film every metaphors, and to try to keep as much as possible in the movie, and to translate the stories and the testimonies into fiction or documentary in the movie. I don't know if it's the good answer.
You shoot it in 3 summers, you told me. So can you tell us something about the writing process? Because you took something from also the story of the protagonist, that is a friend of no, it's a sister of your friend.
Yeah.
It's true. Okay. So you collect some stories from people around you, and then how do you transform it into a script and
Yeah. So we shot for 3 summers. The first summer we didn't have any money. We just tried with the camera with a friend of mine, and then we had an idea of the story based on the testimonies and the people we met, and also Lou, the main character, who is my best friend's sister, and I started to film her, and then we shared our story, and then she was like we created a character that was in between the both of us. But no, I didn't know the people from this area because it was too long, because I left like too long ago. But she was there, so she introduced me to a new way of being young in this area. And the next summer we didn't have enough money as well, but a bit more. So we did all the documentary scenes, and we also shot some more ambiguous scenes that could be documentary or fiction. Like the first one with Lou and Sam was from that summer, and it was like open. It could be fiction, it could be documentary. It wasn't that obvious that the love story was happening, but it was open to it. So, and then the last year we had the money, but not that much, but a bit more. And we did the fiction part more. We took the shots that were missing from some of the scenes. Like for the last scene, there were 3 summers indeed with the same outfit, but we just completed with the editor putting on the editing. Okay, this shot is missing. This shot is missing, and then we finished it for the last summer. So yeah, it was cool because we can shoot and then edit and then write and then go back to shoot, and it's actually a good process.
It's an open process.
Yeah.
About writing.
Yeah.
And another thing that I find that is really interesting about the movie is that you decided to have a certain distance from your protagonist. At the beginning, you are really closer, and you can really feel everything and have a sensation about this invasion and these feelings that are coming from the love story. But at a certain point, you decide to let them leave this story and be a little bit far. So I would like to know something about also these kind of choices you made.
Yeah. So I think at first it was easy to be close to them because the story was open, but there were non-professional actors, so it was sure that it wasn't the right thing to do, to have like super explicit romance scene in between them. Also, they were best friends in real life, so it was kind of awkward to put them in that situation for me. And also, I felt like it was wrong because of the tone of the rest of the film, that is kind of distanced from everything, even from the butterflies somehow. I mean, it's the balance between fiction and documentary cannot handle to overexpose a situation, to me. But maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I felt actually. So I think it was more subtle to give some distance, and also because from what I remember, the first loves were super awkward and not so intense. So I just wanted everybody to put what they want in this without, I like when people come with their own backgrounds and can project. And I think it's possible when you just give enough distance to what you are showing. Yeah.
And I would like to ask you something also about how the video clip background that you have influenced the visual aspect of the movie, because it's really strong and it's also catchy, but in a good way, in the sense that it's really capturizing, but it's not it's not that fast. There is a really good influence, and I would like to know how you manage to create this balance.
I think when you come from a cinema school, you are more taught how to be a bit serious and strict. So I think it was more of an exercise of letting go based on what I've learned from music video. But I mean, to me, I was going from a very strict and very unique way of making movies that you are taught in cinema school, and it was about letting it go and go far from it. So it's but yeah, also the low budget aspect was super helpful, because in music videos we don't have a lot of money usually, for myself, and it was a good way to learn how to have storytelling with synthetic, like you said, way of telling stories, and to let some things that are out of frames exist, and some super basic techniques, like most of the shots are lighted with handheld lights, because we didn't have any lights, and the way we found to make it graphic was to use this filter that make it looks like a star, and then it became actually the language of the movie, because that was what the first thing we did when we shot. So this kind of freedom is nice when you also make a low budget music video, I think.
Ci sono domande dal pubblico, così. No, niente. Davide, vuoi fare un'ultima domanda?
No, no. Vuoi fare una domanda? Ah.
Hi. Well, first, thank you for your film. Thanks for being here, presenting it to us. I have like a couple of questions. One is about the shooting process with the insects, because I guess it's very unpredictable in a way. So, and also I mean, did you get to observe them, or how did you manage to do that? Because I think it's like a whole other thing, the working with insects. And the second one is about more like, what's your idea of desire? Because I feel like there's like an obscure tone, because this connection that you do with the insects on one side, that is sort of like an invasion. This can be devastating, can be invasive. It's something that acts upon you, and I think and it's very sweet and tender also. So I don't know. I like this sort of contrast that is in the idea of desire that you're showing us.
Thanks. Yeah, about the butterflies, indeed it was unpredictable. The only thing that we knew is that they were still going to be there the next year, because there was still some spaces with the tree. Now there's no more tree, so there's no more butterflies, because they ate everything. So I talked to a lot of scientists, of biologists who observed the butterflies, and during the 3 summers we met a lot of people that had our number, and we also contacted people that were like complaining on Facebook. So they say, look at my garden, and we say, okay, can we go and film? Yeah. So we traveled a lot. Like, it was really like a hunt the first 2 years, because but people started to call us like, okay, I saw some of the butterflies in this area, and we were like, okay, let's go. And we were like waking up at 2 in the morning to go, and it was actually at some point it took some time to have good shots, and I was really sad about it. I was like, oh my god, it's never gonna work, we're never gonna find it. Yeah. we did actually, and I was really sometimes at the beginning we didn't manage to have it, and I was like crying, and I was like, this is not gonna work. I'm gonna let it go. But in the end, like 1 week before we leave, it was hitting, and we just traveled around the area. But yeah, it was a hunt for sure. And about the desire, I didn't I didn't think too much about it. Actually, it was really more about how I remember about it when I was young. So it's super instinctive and not too much about the thoughts. But the fact that it's also something that you don't want is something that I remember from my childhood, my teenage period, because like the scene where Lou is trying to kill it and to take it off, I remember that. So that's also one of the points that I wanted to add in it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. Yeah. Thank you.
Io ho pensato una cosa, l'ho dimenticata. No, una cosa che ci tenevo a dire, che non ho detto prima, ma che poi avete visto in realtà, nell'anno scorso, cioè la scorsa stagione, avevamo avuto qua in sala un Marco Proserpio e Guido Borso che per la prima volta avevano proiettato dei videoclip nella rassegna di Indocili, dei video tra l'altro girati qua in via Padova e mi fa piacere, in realtà Roxanne avevamo visto appunto Piral e poi ho scoperto che con la sua casa di produzione faceva anche da regista per dei videoclip, li ho visti, mi sono piaciuti in generale anche per anche noi di Tafano facciamo dei videoclip e una cosa che ha detto già Roxanne è che è questa cosa delle idee, no? Cioè che non importa tanto qual è il budget o qual è la portata poi risolutiva di un videoclip, ma il fatto che si sente che ci sono delle idee alla base e in più nei casi di Roxanne vengono anche bene. Infatti abbiamo fatto una selezione di 3 tipologie diverse, un po' di videoclip su YouTube, ne potete cercare e trovare tanti altri che ha fatti Roxanne, però mi piaceva l'idea che è un po' anche purtroppo, però è un dato di fatto, anche un fil rouge dei registi e delle registe che portiamo qua, che è la questione ovviamente, essendo registi giovani, della questione del budget, però dal budget comunque si può tirar fuori, anzi spesso meno hai budget più l'idea poi emerge e in Roxanne avevo visto tanto questa cosa e quindi sono molto contento che la proiezione di oggi che è tutta dedicata a lei è la prima volta che dedichiamo un'intera serata a un ospite era appunto con i videoclip che sono un ottimo tavolo di prova secondo me molto liberi per potersi sperimentare col cinema. Quindi niente, volevo solo fare questo appunto qua che non avevo fatto all'inizio. Roxanne, vuoi aggiungere qualcos'altro? Ci vuoi? Vai.
Um, just for Kokoro, our collective, the most important thing is to use the budget to pay people. So actually, when I say we don't have budget, we just use it to pay people instead of having like huge gear and technical stuff. So it shows it's like it doesn't look like A$AP Rocky music video because I mean it's not where we put the money and. But also I think, and it's also the same in movies, it's to find the good ecology of shooting, like for the music video you saw in the farm, it's actually my girlfriend's farm that exists. That his father is actually also a champion of motorcycle, and so it's really close to documentary, and it's really about it's the same thing about observing and trying to take from what exists and to use the money for people and to make sense, because it was important for her to show the reality of this farm that is actually going bankrupt. And so I mean, we try, even if it's music video area and it looks like commercial, we try to add some sense in it and to find the good ecology in the way of making it as much as we can, because it's still an industry that revolves around selling music, but we try to find it. And also in movies, I think the ecology is a good way of thinking about a budget. I don't know.
È che le metropolitane sono ancora aperte, non so che ore siano, e io ci tengo veramente a ringraziarti tanto, Roxanne, e per chi ha voglia magari ci spostiamo di nuovo a Rondò, a berci un'altra cosina e scambiarci ancora due parole. E no, ci tenevamo a dire l'ultima cosa, è il momento spot, che però in realtà è un momento spot a cui tengo particolarmente perché sono coinvolte in questa cosa tutti i collaboratori di Indocili e di Tafano, che sono il Cinema Beltrade, Start e Octafilm. Perché? Perché? Monica? Perché? Vai, che sei...
Perché partecipiamo, aiutiamo Octafilm a far uscire un film molto indipendente, che è Gigi la legge, di Alessandro Comodin, che conoscerete, è un regista friulano, e questa è una storia ambientata in Friuli, in un paesetto sperduto di quelli dove non c'è niente da fare, ci si annoia molto, e Gigi è un vigile urbano della polizia locale ed è un personaggio incredibile. Non solo lui, ma anche tutto il contesto in cui vive e opera. È un film indefinibile, perché è classica crinale fra documentario e finzione, molto bello, molto ben fatto, anche divertente, ma di grandi atmosfere, veramente bello, pregnante, insomma. E noi al Beltrade faremo, credo, una anteprima il 4, spero con la presenza del regista, è ancora da fissare orario e tutto, però dovrebbe essere così. E, e fra l'altro, e spero che ci sarà anche Gigi, tu lo sai? Ci sarà anche Gigi, quindi imperdibile, perché Gigi è davvero un personaggio esattamente come nel film, anche dal vivo. E Alessandro è molto simpatico e solitamente molto disponibile, e quindi sarà una bella serata. E poi il film uscirà dal 9 con più regolarità e farà un tour nelle sale di tutta Italia, e questo è, credo, davvero da non perdere.
Noi ci vediamo invece a metà febbraio per l'ultimo appuntamento di Indocili, con una super puntata, con un sacco di registe e registi, e vedremo un sacco di corti. Non ho voglia di dirvi quando, anche perché non me lo ricordo, quindi vabbè, ma diciamo di guardarlo sulla pagina Instagram di Tafano, così, ecco. Ciao, buonanotte, grazie.